Welcome back, Stingers. What if I told you that you could have such high self-esteem and self-worth that you can develop such a strong sense of self that you can, over time, learn to not just but appreciate all of your qualities? What if I told you that it doesn't matter where you are right now? It doesn't matter if you feel like you're in the trenches, if you are in a volatile relationship, if you are living at home with your parents who may not have your best interests at heart, if you are feeling stuck, if you are feeling like you are worthless, if you are feeling like you have no value, if you are feeling like you don't really know how to move forward and have some direction, what if I told you that no matter where you are, that you can 100% get to a place where you have so much value for yourself, where you have developed such an amazing relationship built from the ground up, that you can get to a space where you can overcome and heal from a lot of your childhood traumas, that you can develop a whole entire self-concept. You can see yourself differently from a whole entire new vantage point, that you can move through life in a way that people just move out of your way, that they just comply. What if I told you that I was where you were at one point, and now I am on the other side? Okay? What if I told you that this is 100% possible? It is. And we're going to have a serious conversation tonight. And I am going to tell you how I can help you. I am here to help you guys. Okay? Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Moon is the first social media platform about Scorpios by a real Scorpio, by someone who was where you are right now, who has burned her old self and developed a brand new self-concept, a brand new vantage point, has grown self-love, self-worth, and now I move through life in a completely different manner, and I get what I want. Okay? How did this conversation come about? We're going to talk about it right now. I always ask you guys in my posts, what videos or what information can I give you to better help transform your life? What do you want to see from me? What do you want from me exactly? What information can I give you to help you achieve your goals in life? And surprisingly, year after year, I get the same commentary. You guys want to know who you're compatible with. You want to know if someone likes you. You want to know if your specific sun, moon, rising in your chart means something significant. You guys want to know how you can get a relationship with someone you've been chasing for years. You guys always want to know about things that are exterior. And for me, it's very, very strange, because all of the things that you actually want, the root of that is not what you think it is. You don't really want that person. If I told you that your sun conjunct Venus, or whatever you have, I don't know what your charts are. was compatible with the guys across the street. At this stage in your life, at this stage in your development, a lot of you are still dealing with a lot of trauma. A lot of you are still healing from a lot of things that you've gone through in life. If, in fact, that your moon and rising and sun was compatible with the guys across the street, do you know what would happen if you guys came together? Nothing. You would still have your low self-esteem. That relationship would go sour. I would give it a month, and you would be back where you started. That's what will happen. That is the answer to your question. So trying to figure out whether you're compatible with someone, trying to figure out what does it mean when this happens, all of that to say, you're going to end up in the same spot with no movement. None of that even makes a difference. I'm here to give you a path to having such high self-worth and esteem that you can attract anything you want. Literally anything you want. Hear me out. It's not some magic pill. It's not some magic affirmation, although affirmations are very important. It's not me telling you that you have these amazing things in your chart. None of that matters if you don't know what to do with it, if you have no navigation point, if you don't feel good enough to even move through life in a way that you're healthy and that you will bring all that stuff in. None of that matters. And you know it doesn't matter because some of you have been emailing me for 5, 6, 7, 8 years and you're still in the same spot. You're still there. You still feel the same way about yourself. You're still fighting with your mother. You are still cussing out those family members. You still are in an incredibly volatile relationship. You're still there. None of it even matters. This is what I'm going to give you tonight. I am going to show you how what I have to offer will help you. I'm going to tell you how my services can help you in more than one way. What I offer you will change your entire life. Not just relationships about the boy across the street. Not just trying to get some job. Everything. Everything. When I wrote my books, Dating Scorpio and Rise from the Ashes, I wrote them simultaneously. It took me about 7, 8 months just to write, and then I had months of editing. It was a very long process. And in my books, I chose specific stories to give to you. I didn't just pull them out of hats. There's so many things I could have spoken about. Dating Scorpio is a book where I show you, I go back in time, all the way to my youth, and I show you how I navigated specific relationships based on who I was then. That book is not about the other zodiac signs. It's about who I was. Okay? It was about where I was then. Many of you guys are there. You can't recognize it, but you're where I was back when I was in my early 20s. And this is why you watch my channel. This is why you tune in. This is why you book readings. This is why you're here. Because you recognize yourself in my old self. And you want to be here. You want to be on the other side where the grass is green. Okay? You want to be on this side. And I'm telling you, this side is so much better. When I wrote my book, Rise from the Ashes, I came from a place of showing you what steps I took to break myself down and rebuild. What does that mean? Oh my gosh, what does that mean? That means killing the old version of you who has the weak self-concept, the person who thinks low of themselves. And many of you think low of yourself, and I can tell by the questions that you ask me. When I ask you, what do you want to see? And you come up with things like, am I compatible with this and that? That is a very weak conversation that you want me to have. It has nothing to do with self-development. It has everything to do with, will that person like me? Am I good enough? Please look at my chart. What does it mean? I have a Virgo Venus. Will that guy like me with a Virgo Venus? I don't know. Am I good enough? You're on your knees, and I want you up. I want you off the floor. And I want you to stop begging for people. I want you to feel good enough to attract, to bring them in. They're looking for you at this point. I want you to turn that energy around. And it's going to take steps. In my book, I talk about a 45-day transformation. It takes about 30 days or so to form a habit. 45 days, you should be okay. You have more than enough practice, habitual things that you're going to do every day to transform your life. Now, the first thing I want you guys to do is have a GPS. Some of you don't even know where you are. You don't know where your challenges are. You can't identify the traumas that you have. You don't know where to begin. It's like, well, what do I fix? What do I burn? What do I release? What do I purge? What do I do? And this is something that I had to figure out because there were so many things that were hidden in the trenches. There were lots of little things tucked away that I could not see. My vision wasn't clear then. I didn't know who I was. I was a detached individual. Some of you are so detached from your bodies. You are absolutely detached. You don't even look at yourselves. You have no idea what markings you have on your body, what identifies you. You don't look at yourselves. You don't know what's yours. You have no autonomy. There's nothing. There's such a separation. And I want you guys to build that relationship. So the first thing I had to do was to figure out what was wrong with me. Why did I feel not good enough? Is that normal? No. A lot of children grow up feeling good enough, honey. I talked about that in some of my books. I grew up with people who felt amazing. They were like, ooh, I'm not doing that. Ill. I'm not doing that. Get away from me. They felt like things were just beneath them because that's how they were taught. They grew up in an amazing place where this was the norm for them. It was normal for them to be like, oh no, I want the best. It was not normal for me. It is not normal for you guys. It is not normal. It's not your norm. Your self-image doesn't allow for that. You're like, oh, okay. Well, I'll just wait for him to call me back. It's been a week. What do I do? Will you please check my moon to his Venus? Will you please check, do I get along with these types? You're begging at this point. You're pleading. Oh, please. You're on your knees. So when I discovered the root, remember when I went back? You guys have read my book, I'm Not Crazy. Ooh, I take you back to when I was 4 years old. Okay? I also talk about this in my workbook, Lovable. I take you all the way back, and I'm like, oh, wow. This is where it began. This is the root. This is the beginning of it. Okay? And once I knew where that disconnect happened, that's when I could begin my discovery, going back, talking to my younger self, figuring out what the hell happened here. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry I left you like that. I abandoned you. Let's go back. Let's recreate this relationship. Let's heal from this. Let's talk about this. Let's rid ourselves from all these false beliefs that we have built over decades, okay? You need a GPS. You need to go back and figure out how this all began. How did you get like this? How did you get in a place where you're always in the begging position, where you're hoping somebody calls you, where you're hoping they love you, where your whole life? Your whole life. There are some people who are 75 years old who are still waiting for their mom to apologize. Mom's been dead for 40 years, honey. And they are still waiting for her ghost to come back and apologize for beating her up at 6 years old. They're still waiting. They're still aching for that connection. They're still hurting. They're still in pain. And because of that, they cannot even create amazing relationships. It's just impossible. It's impossible. So the person that you're waiting for over there, who is not thinking about you, honey, at all. You're like, oh, does our moon signs match? Imagine if your moon signs matched and you got together. You would fuck it up. I give you 30 days because you don't even feel good enough to have a relationship anyway. You don't know what a healthy relationship is. You don't have one with yourself. So the guy across the street, like, what do you think is going to happen with him? I always wonder that. What do you think's going to happen when you guys read my book, Dating Scorpio, and I talked about my mirror person, and I talked about my same birth card person? What was that? It was a mess, wasn't it? It was an absolute nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. There was 0% chance of me having a healthy relationship with anyone. Because I didn't have one by myself. Okay? This is what I want to give to you guys. I want you to get to a place where you see yourself entirely differently. You bring so much value and worth. And I know those words are just rampant around YouTube. I hate it. I hate when I hear somebody, I knew my value. I just want to punch through my computer when I hear someone say that. I really do. And particularly if that person is in some bad marriage, they've been divorced 10 times, they are obese, they are not taking care of themselves, and they're like, I knew my worth. And I'm like, do you really? Because it doesn't look like it. At all. At all. Okay? So I know that can be tricky when you keep hearing these words, love yourself, know your worth, and all this silly, stupid stuff that is going rampant. So let's talk about that tonight. What does that mean to be worthy? What does that mean to feel worthy? Well, I will tell you this. Sometimes in your life, there are instances that can chip away at any self-esteem that you have, okay? Self-esteem is esteem you have about yourself. When you are young, this comes from your immediate environment. It's instilled in you. It's instilled. Your parents teach you certain things. They tell you that you are good enough. You can do it. They encourage you to do things. You mess up, they say, get back up. You can do it. You have the tools. Good for you. Good job. All these things build esteem in someone. And they teach you how to look at yourself in a way that you have pride. You're proud of who you are. You're like, I can do it. I know I can. I am good enough to do this. Somebody else can do it. I can do it. I can do anything I want. These are the things they're supposed to do. Not all of us get those advantages as a kid. Okay? Many of you didn't. I didn't get a whole lot of it. Some. I got some of it. I didn't get enough of it. I got some of it sometimes. But this is where it starts. And once you are instilled to like yourself, you're encouraged to like yourself, that you are good enough. Of course you can do it. Of course you can do it. Of course. Let's try this. Let's do that. You're encouraged. then you get your own little footing, and you feel good. You go out into the world and you're like, well, I've done this and I've done that, so I know I can do it. And you feel some sort of confidence. You feel some sort of value. You feel valuable. You feel like you add value. And if you don't have that, if you don't have any type of esteem about yourself, you don't feel like you can do anything, you don't feel encouraged, you feel like other people are better than you, you're the bottom of the barrel, so you don't have the right to ask for certain things. You don't have a right to have a boundary. You don't have a right to tell people no. So they have all access to you. They can speak to you negatively, and you will sit there and maybe cry or go cry when you're at home, and maybe you feel like they're right. You're like, oh, they're right. I ain't shit. I can't do anything. I am ugly. I am fat. Whatever. You believe it. And once you believe something, you become it. You become it. You ever see children who their parents say they're bad? Oh, you're bad. You're always getting in trouble. They become that. They take on that character. They become wild and unruly. And they're like, oh, you think I'm bad already? Or if you call them stupid, they take on that character. They start doing really poorly at school. They're like, well, I'm stupid anyway. It becomes a character. It becomes a personality trait. Okay? It becomes a personality trait. And when you feel like you're not good enough, like nothing you do is the right amount, you walk around in this suit that positions you into situations where you're not good enough. Where you're not good enough. You get into relationships, you feel unworthy, you're not good enough. And you have to plead and beg and tolerate all sorts of behavior. All sorts of snarky remarks. All sorts of jabs where they put you down. And every relationship just repeats itself. Because you have on the suit. You show up. It says unworthy right in the front. And deep down, you're like, oh, Malika, I just want somebody loving and this and that. But you're wearing the unworthy suit. Why would anyone loving come your way? What do they gain? Nothing, right? The answers to all of your questions, because I can feel the root of your questions through the computer. Oh, but what does this person mean when I have that? And you're trying to do bi-wheels and tri-wheels, trying to figure out somebody else's life. You're trying to figure out whether they'll want you or not. That's the root. Is like, what do I have that they would want? And you're asking the wrong questions. If you follow the GPS that I've set out for you, if you give yourself a chance, because where are you going to go? Listen, if you're already down, you can't go any further. What do you lose by giving yourself a chance and saying, listen, for 45 days, this is what I'm going to do. For 45 days, what do you lose? And I guarantee you guys, and I say that with confidence, I know because I've done it. I've done it. This was my blueprint. I've done it. If you give yourself just 45 days, first of all, you find out what your issues are. Okay? I've done most of your master chart readings. I've explained to you where a lot of that trauma is. I'm like, it's right here. Sometimes you think it's over there. I'm like, it's right here. Okay? I explained to you what your strengths are, how to use them to your advantage, and how to break through those challenges. So you have a GPS, you have a blueprint. Okay, I get it. Wow. At 8 years old, this happened to me, and it triggered X, Y, and Z. Oh, I get it. So now, this is what I can do every single day to break down like a hammer, to put little cracks into the traumatized pieces that I've had, to break the molds. And yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, it's going to be challenging. Yes, you're going to reject it. Yes, you're going to run off. Oh my gosh, I can't do this. Just tell me if my moon matches the guys across the street. You're going to do this. You're going to reject. It is just your brain's way of trying to keep you in a familiar, and I say keep you in a familiar place. Your brain's job is to keep you safe. Oh no, stay over here. We're used to being traumatized. What are you doing over there? Oh my gosh, there's so much work. You can't become that person, that fabulous person who actually likes herself. Just stay here. It's safe. You're going to go through those withdrawals. I know I did for a really long time. I went up and down and up and down and up and down until I got tired. To get to the root of the issue, to know what it is, to burn the old self that even thinks that way, that acts that way, that has on the suit, to get the suit off, okay? Give yourself a chance. Give yourself 45 days. Listen, if you have no movement in 45 days, forget it. Then you go back, put the suit on, and just live your life pleading for the guy across the street, okay? What I did when I identified the issues, I said, oh, wow, I didn't even realize that. I'm like, I've been walking around half my life like this, and I didn't realize that's where it came from. Ooh. So what do I need to do in order to become the person that I want to be? The person who genuinely, not this YouTube BS talk, I know my worth. None of that. I don't like to fake it till you make it. I just don't like the fake part. I wanted to actually feel powerful. And I wrote that down in 1999 in my journal. I got tired of being tired of being tired. I got tired of it. I know you're tired of it. I know you are. I can feel it in all of your responses, all of your questions. I know you're fucking sick of sitting there every single day begging for shit. Just begging for shit. Your whole life, begging for a job, begging for a relationship, begging. It's exhausting. Okay? And what I did was, I said, wow. So how do I get from this body to that body? Because my brain's still in the body, and I'm still going to think these things about myself because I've been conditioned to do it. I've been hearing the same thing on repetition for the whole entire decades, 1 decade, 2 decades. I've been hearing this on repeat. And then it was like, oh, I had an aha moment. If I've been hearing negative things towards me on repeat for decades, and I begin to morph into that person, then that means that I can listen to some new shit for decades and become another person. It just made sense. If I can be influenced to dislike myself, I can be influenced to like myself. And I'm telling you guys this because the root to everything you want, the relationship, the marriage, the job, all of that is rooted in your self-concept. Let me repeat that. Everything you want in life is dependent upon how you feel about yourself. Now, you can lie and be like, oh, I know my worth, I have high value. Yet, you have negative self-talk, you're treating yourself in horrible ways. And what I mean by that is, some of you don't even know you're treating yourself horribly. I was treating myself so poorly. I had positioned myself in a lifestyle that was so negative, and it really inhibited me from growing and accessing anything that I wanted. I literally built a gate around myself. I literally did that. And many of you are doing the same thing. You are at some job that is so beneath you. A lot of you are highly educated and you're working at the bubblegum factory. Many of you are choosing friends and partners who are fucking losers. Remember me sitting at the loser table in 8th grade? You remember that chapter in the book? Go back and read it. That is a poignant chapter. And remember after that, years later, recognizing that I was at the loser table again when I got into the entertainment industry and I was on set, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just like on repeat. I'm at the fucking loser table again. A lot of you are at the loser table in your lives in every capacity. And you've placed yourself there subconsciously because you don't see yourself valuable enough to be anywhere else. You're like, I'll take the receptionist job even though you should be the VP. I'll date that person who keeps ghosting me, who doesn't even like you. And you're living with them, you're having their babies. And then you're emailing me. Why? What does it take? What does it mean when Scorpio does this? None of that matters. None of that matters. Doesn't matter what he's doing. None of that matters at all. I'm telling you guys, if you can get to a place of self-love, you will never, and mark my word, come back to this video years later. You will never ask the questions that you're asking me ever again. It won't even be on your radar. You won't even be in the place to ask, to beg, ever again. This is what I want to do for you guys. I want you to book a master chart reading with me. I will tell you exactly where your weak points are. And your weak points are the things that are keeping you in a very tumultuous state. For some of you, I've told you that you have control issues. And it stems from your dad because he was controlling. And I told you that, and you guys know which ones you are, that all of your relationships you will have a control mechanism with. And this is something that is problematic in your life, and that is something that you need to release. For some of you, I've told you that you've had abusive relationships with mom, and that affects all of your friendships with women. All of them. And you can't magically make it disappear and ignore it and shove it under the rug. As soon as you get in that relationship, boom, here comes mom again. For some of you, I've told you other very deep things, okay? And that's going to be your starting point. You're going to start there. You say, oh, wow, this is where I need to begin, okay? Once you know that, then you're going to get on the 45-day transformation. And I tell you step by step how to get from on your knees to on your damn feet, to whereas you're not asking questions coming from a place of lack. Do you guys know when I met my mirror person back in 2010, I felt out of control. I felt really stupid. Granted, I was in my 30s already. And I felt like I didn't really have anything substantial. Like, I felt like I should have been doing more. I should have had more. And I didn't feel like I was at the level that a lot of other people were at. And I remember when I met my karmic match, which I give you guys in the master chart reading. I tell you who they are. These people, my goodness. These people will show you your truest self, okay? I remember when I met him, the ways in which he showed me who I really was. Oh my gosh. It was so unsavory. I was like, ew, what is this? It was so incredible because I was like so turned off. And thinking back, all of the different qualities, and I explain this in my book, what they are, all of the different qualities that he had that was mirroring mine, I was thinking, wow, this is how other people dealt with me my whole life. I was like, oh my goodness. It was like deep. I was like, that's what it is. Oh, we got to do something about that. And then I thought, like, okay, well, all of the qualities aren't bad, right? Everything about me isn't terrible. It couldn't be. This is not possible. So when we started hanging out and spending a lot of time together, I started to really pick up on the things that I did like. Because your mirror person is going to mirror everything. They're just not going to throw out all this bad stuff, right? Everything's coming out. And what I did, which was really smart of me, was, and I can't find it, I don't know where it is, but I decided to get a journal because I was like, I want to write down everything. I want to really go back and have notes on what I experienced. So every time we hung out, I wrote down how I felt around him. Like, what did he trigger in me? Like, what feelings? And there was so much there, and I just wrote everything down. And then I started to write down the things that I disliked about him. The things I disliked were things that I didn't like about myself. So this is the important thing. The important thing is to get to know yourself so that you can discover all these things. There's things about yourselves that are so ugly, so unloving. They're so unloving. And they're unloving because throughout your life you've developed, self-punishment and all different things. You guys can talk about this with your therapist. I am not a therapist, by the way. I meant to do that disclaimer at the beginning. I am not a psychiatrist, psychologist, psychoanalyst, none of the above. I am here with the knowledge of being in a place of low self-esteem and worth and making it out to the other side. That I do know how to do, okay? And I'm extremely confident about that. So if you guys have a therapist, which you should get a therapist, I implore you guys to. All of these little things, I implore you to write them down and make sure that you present that so that's something you can work on together. They have the tools, they have the science and the tools to help you really, tackle a lot of different things, okay? So I wrote all these things down, and it was really hard to grapple with. It really was. It was not easy to see myself in that way. I was like, well, that can't be me. Like, he's so ugly. He's so disrespectful. He's so standoffish. He's so, like, I had a whole list of, honey, he's so. And the joke is, you guys are doing this with a lot of people. I see your emails. Oh my gosh, I got a narcissist boyfriend, my ex-husband. If you are bold enough to replace the word he or she with I, that's what I had to do. Oof, it's frightening. It's like, wait, I am all these things? Ooh, oh my goodness. And take accountability. That's one foot in front of the other. It literally is. It took me a long time to get there. And this is why I know what I know what I'm talking about. And this is why I know that it will work for you. I don't care where you are. I don't care where you are in your journey. It will work for you. So, little by little, I started to dismantle the voices in the language, the other people's language, and I started to replace it. In my book, Nobody Can Hurt Me, Scorpio's Guide to Healing with Affirmations, I give you a plethora of amazing language. It's not going to feel good in the beginning because you don't believe it. You know yourself to be a negative person. You know yourself to be unworthy. Whether you say it or not, whether you vocalize it or not, it doesn't matter. That's the suit that you have on. So when you're replacing language, it's going to feel weird. It's like putting on a brand new pair of shoes. Like, they hurt a little bit. You haven't morphed into the shoes. You haven't become the person that you want to be. It's uncomfortable. All of it is uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. But that is evolution. That is the breakdown and rebuild process. Eliminating that person who feels unworthy, who feels ugly, who feels that they can't do it, and building yourself from the ground up. And I talk about that. Now, if you are a member, we talk a lot about building a new character behind the scenes. And I know many of you guys are struggling with that. And in the beginning, it does feel like a struggle. It does, because you're not used to being loving to yourself. You're waiting for somebody else to be like, I love you, I forgive you. You're waiting for all the wrong things, honey. Listen, at this stage in the game, I couldn't care. I am not waiting for an apology from no one. I don't care. I don't care. And it feels so good to not care about that anymore. It feels good to have released somebody else's view of me, to give them any importance. It feels good to not give a damn. It feels good to put myself on a pedestal. It feels good to be the hierarchy for myself. It feels really good to have clear-cut boundaries and say absolutely not and mean it. That's the key, and mean it, not just spew out words and feel ugly later, like, oh, I can't believe you did this to me, I can't believe it. Like, no, to be like, no, absolutely not. You will not do this. I will challenge you. No, thank you. Ill. That's not good enough. It feels so good to position myself in a place that is safe, that is loving, that is in my benefit. Okay? In every aspect. My neighborhood, the job, the clothes I wear, the body that I carry around. It feels so good to wake up and feel important, Like, oh my gosh, I can accomplish anything. Let's go exercise. Let's go take care of this amazing shell that has carried me around for over 4 decades. Let's do this. Let's make this decision based on love, based on what is right for me, what feels good for me. It feels good to have that. And I never had that. Okay? I never had it. So I offer to you guys to open up that portal and take a peek and see where the issues are. Look around. Ooh. And make a decision to give yourself a chance, to give yourself 45 days. What do you lose? Absolutely nothing. This is what I can give to you. This is what I offer to you guys. Okay? This is what I am here for. These are my services. And I have a question for you. What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to get up every morning at 6 a.m. to exercise and meditate and journal? Are you willing to stop using volatile language? Are you willing to go see a therapist? Like, what are you willing to do? What is your exchange? What are you willing to do in order to break yourself down and rebuild? What would you give for that? What would you give for that? Because I gave everything. I said, I decided that I didn't care what it took. My motto was by any means necessary. And you know what I gave up? I gave up all my friendships. I cut everyone off. There was not one person I kept around. I gave that up. I changed my whole diet, my whole entire diet. And with my diet, I changed my mindset. And I was ridiculed. I was made fun of. I gave up a lot of being social out with people because my diet and my belief system changed, so I no longer wanted to be around them. I gave up pretty much everything that I used to do, all the things that I thought I enjoyed, that I did out of feeling obligated. I gave it all up. And the reward, I want you guys to feel what I feel now. I want you to feel how I feel when I walk in a room. And I'm not looking, wondering who's there, like, oh, I wonder what they think of me. Mm-mm. I want you to feel what I feel when I walk down the street and I'm not hoping that somebody likes me, or I'm not waiting by the phone hoping that they call back. Like, that's like one of the best feelings. And I remember waiting by the phone. You go read my books. I remember waiting by the phone. My younger self, wow, she just got me through so many things. And I'm not here to make fun of her, but we've come a long way, a long, long way. With that being said, I want to end this video, and I want to see how many of you guys give yourself a chance. How many of you want to be the most fabulous version of yourselves, who can look in the mirror and every morning and say, I love you, I appreciate you, you're amazing, let's get it, Or when you meet somebody who is not a compliment to your life, you can say no thank you and walk away without thinking, oh my gosh, maybe that's my soulmate, or maybe I should give him a chance, or maybe that doesn't even cross your mind, because your self-concept is solid. How many of you guys are going to give yourself a chance to be the best? All right, guys, this was heavy. Thank you for always tuning in and trusting me with your chart readings, and being a member and spending time with me, allowing me to enter your lives, and trusting me with so much intricate information that you give me. I want to see how many of you really want to transform, and not in conversation. Oh, I'm going to do this. What are you doing every single day? I dropped everything. I remember where I was the day I made the decision. I remember what apartment I was in at the time. I remember how I felt. I remember writing that letter to myself, that 10-year letter. And it was so emotional. Like, oh my goodness, that just broke me down. And when I opened it 10 years later, oh my gosh, I just put everything in motion. And I just wrote myself a 5-year letter last year. And I want to see which one of you guys has the breakthrough. I want to see what your depth is. How much do you want to be better? I tell you one thing, everything is going to come from this. Everything. You cannot go around it. You cannot have all these things and feel terrible about yourself. It's not going to work. It's not going to work out. And I know trying to skip the step is going to seem like the easy route, but I implore you guys not to do that. It just will backfire. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. Anyway, I know this was heavy, and it's supposed to be heavy. It's supposed to be. Nobody said life was easy. Nobody said life was fair. Nobody said that it was an easy ride, honey. Every day life is going to kick you in the balls. Every day. Something is going to happen that breaks your spirit. You're going to have a death in the family. You're going to experience disloyalty. People are going to betray you. People are going to lie to you. People in your own family are going to do things to you. People are going to run their mouths about you. And you can't stop them. But what you can do is change how you view the world. And you can attract all of the things you want. All the things you want are looking for you. They can't find you in the body that you're in. They can't find you in that suit that says loser or unworthy or whatever it says, whatever words you use to describe yourself internally. They can't find you. Okay? So, with that, I want to thank you guys for, particularly my members, for trusting me with all your intimate information and all of the things that we share with each other, all the things that I try to give you. I try to extend to you as much support as I possibly can. I've been where you are. I've been where all of you are. And I know what it feels like to be on that side. I know what it feels like to be on that side. And, I know for a fact that you can get over the hurdle. I know for a fact. There's not a bone in my body that's like, oh, you're not going to make it. Oh, yes, you are. If you decide that that's what you're going to do, like I did in 1999, I wrote in my journal, while everybody else wanted these high-powered jobs, they wanted this husband, I just wanted high self-esteem. That's literally all I wanted, I was like, I just want to like myself, and I wrote it down, and that planted the seed. It literally did. Once you make that decision, and that planted the seed. And so I never looked back. What are you willing to give up? Because you cannot live in a body of low self-esteem and get high vibrational things. It just does not work like that. And don't try and think that it does. Oh, I don't want to do that. I've known this person since 5th grade. I don't want to give that up. Listen, I gave up whatever was necessary, honey, and nobody could tell me otherwise. I didn't care who, what, when, where, how, why. If somebody told me you can have all this if you let that go, honey, bye. Good riddance. Okay. So, let me give you guys a hug. You need it. Let me give you guys a hug. Join my membership where I will be available to you every Thursday at 7. Unless I get booked to be on TV, which is often now, because all my vision board is just coming to life. I have so much abundance now. I'm so appreciative. I have so much abundance, and Saturn is just rewarding me for all of my hard work that I've been putting in. So every Thursday at 7, we talk about self-esteem building, astrology, and we go in, and I want you guys to think about everything I said, and I want you to use my services to your advantage. I don't just have chart readings to have them. I don't have tarot readings just to have them. I didn't write books just to write a book. I wrote this for you guys, okay? I wrote this for you because I have done all the things in the book. Okay, this is what I'm giving to you. So I want you guys to utilize it to your advantage. Don't just throw it in the corner. This is your life you're talking about. Do you want to be 30, 40, 50, 60, balled up in a corner waiting for someone to call you? That's horrible. It's a waste of skin, okay? It's absolute waste. Waste of a life. So, that's all I have for you. Thank you for always sharing my video. As a matter of fact, I want you to share this video with just one person. One person who you think is ready to hear this message. All right, guys, I'll see you soon.